Welcome to the cinema. Oh, you gotta be shitting me. Seriously? Bookshow? You motherfuckers! You could barely do one thing right. How the fuck are you gonna pull this shit off?
Hello?
What the hell's wrong with you? Yes, it would. I would leave all that shit in if I had been recording.
Yeah, I know you would.
Hey, yeah, I like to do as little editing as possible. Okay, so I guess we're all here. Oh shit, I forgot to go over things with our guest. Hey, it's all just fuck it. Who knows?
Are we talking? Okay.
Sort of. So I guess, hey, welcome to the Shitshow. It's always a mess. All the insaniacs and cinemasochists, I'm glad that you joined us. My name is Jonathan Stryker. Today, Ben cannot be with us because he has a new job and a new schedule, but we wanted to get our guest in here. So instead, I have asked on Jonathan Stryker to come on and try to help me keep control of things. So actually, I'm Nix, and this has been the Albatross. I'm sorry, Dave the Albatross. So many names flying around. Dave, I'm glad you're here, buddy.
I don't look anything like Ben.
None of us have beards.
Oh, no. There's no beards here.
I'm glad you joined us, man. And the whole reason we're here is because we do have a special guest. We have Scott Drebit.
What? It's not Jonathan Stryker?
Jonathan Stryker.
I was gonna say AKA, but man, yeah.
Okay.
He really is named Jonathan Stryker. He goes by the alter ego of Scott Drebit only when he writes books and articles on the internet. I'm glad you're here, man.
Well, thanks for having us. I know we've had this brewing for a few weeks now, and I've been looking forward to it. So thanks for having me.
My one question, before we begin, the most important question is:
yes,
did you listen to any of our other podcasts before?
No.
Okay. All right.
All right then.
No, and you know why? I don't like to do it if it's one I'm not familiar with, because I like to go in and it makes it fresher for me. You know? If I'm just diving in and see where my hosts take me, and I'm perfectly great with that. Or not, we'll see.
I mean, yeah, hey, you are free to exit at any moment because there's.
We will talk about it. Well, he's gone.
So the book is a cut below, and it's a celebration of B movies, which is exactly what our podcast is mostly about. Underseen, underappreciated, lower budgeted stuff. It kind of seems to be my forte. Albatross here, he has a similar taste, but I think now I don't know.
Well, yeah. I tend to lean more towards like the sword and sorcery and science fiction genres. I do like horror. I mainly because me and Nix here went to high school together, and I liked a little bit of horror before I met Nix.
Yeah.
And then there was no getting away from it once I met Nix, because I got to watch. I learned a whole lot more about horror then, because like I come into class one day and there's this guy sitting next to me, and he had Fangoria magazine and Monster magazine and stuff like that with him, and I was more into the science fiction, but there's a lot of crossover there.
Oh, there's much crossover. I mean, if you're into sci-fi and fantasy, you've seen 1 or 7 B movies
in
in your life.
Well, like my
90% of them are B. So
yeah,
yeah,
my
you're in good
episode on the
company.
show was Hawk the Slayer.
Well, there you go.
That was one of my all-time favorite movies.
Sure, it's a great one. It's a
So I
fun one,
was
but yeah, there's so much crossover between that. So you're comfortable floating between the genres. I find
Yeah,
if you're a fan of
yeah,
one, you can dance amongst the others pretty good.
yes, yes.
so Scott, you are.
Yeah.
I mean, we just had some bad news today. I mean, you're senior columnist for Daily Dead. Are you
Yes, sir.
still writing for them?
Occasionally, I mean, I'm still part of the team and the crew. Yeah, I used to do my drive and dust offs were weekly, but then when I turned to focus on the book, the weekly became a month, and then the month became 6, and I think I put out one last year. But Jonathan James at Daily Dead, the owner and operator, whenever I want to drop another drive and dust off, I just send it into him, and he'll throw it out in its old Saturday slot. But yeah, I have over at Daily Dead about 335 dust offs, I guess I've done. Yeah.
Damn. Congratulations, man. I mean, we just heard that Heather, you know,
Yeah, Heather
Heather
Wixon. Yeah,
Wixon
I
is,
heard that the same as everyone else last night
yeah.
when she posted. She is just an amazing person and truly an inspiration to me. I used to follow her around on social media, not in a creepy way, but she was working for
That's what
before
they all
Daily
say.
Dead. No, before Daily Dead, she was with a couple. She was with another. In the early days of the internet horror scene, she was with one of these companies. Since there wasn't that much to choose from, you read what was available. And she was very prominent. And then, so when she went to Daily Dead, I started following Daily Dead on Twitter, the site, etc., and her writing. And then I actually ended up, Daily Dead was the only site that I sent pieces into that even contacted me back out of everyone. Daily Dead was the one who said, yeah, we'd like to. I sent in a couple pieces I'd written. They said, yeah, we'd like you want to do a column? I said, well, that was the goal. And so we went from there, and that was like 2015, I guess. So yeah, 9 years ago, just about next month. It's been a minute.
I gotta say, I'm glad they picked you up because, especially reading through the book, at least the parts I've had time to do, because I think I've only had it for a week or so since it was in my hands. But your sense of humor really resonates with me. It's sort of the kind of way I back in the early days before Web 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
There were all these like B movie sites, like
Yeah.
Djibouti and stuff like that, where people would just write up like 1,000-page reviews of B movies and stuff, and
Yeah.
just have a lot of fun with it. And it
Yeah.
really reminds me a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, I didn't want it to be, and I can't be. I'm not the goes through three tomes of information, and it's all drier than a popcorn fart. That's just not who I am. The way I write is who I am. I try to make as much of my personality come through in the writing. I try to make it so that newcomers are embraced. Like in my pieces, I don't give away, usually for the most part, any kind of plot twists or who the killer is. I want it to be someone who's coming to a movie fresh after 40 years. Well, they still may not know anything about it. So why should that be spoiled for them? If not, I'm not saying it's a crime to talk about a movie that's 40 years old and talk about the plot, etc., which I know we're going to do. But for those people, coming, right? But for those people coming to it new, I like the idea of someone like some kid or someone older even I've seen a lot of people in the past year or two online who've are just coming around to trying out horror. And we're talking about, older people, but for the younger people too, who are coming into it new, I'd like to give them something where they'll read my piece and they just want to see the movie, and I haven't spoiled it
Yeah.
for them. I like that idea, and I've always tried to do that. And then for the people who are the veterans who have been, well, that's what the inside jokes are for. There's little things here and there for people who've seen the movies. There's little asides here and there to let you know that, yeah, I'm in on the joke too, obviously. So that's always how I've tried from the time I started doing the dust-offs to doing the book. That's kind of, that's just how I write. And I'm kind of glad that I do. So thank you.
Yeah, I noticed with your chapter, I've only known I was going to be here for like 3 days, so so I've managed to. I read your foreword or your, and then I definitely made sure I read the part about the movie we're going to talk about tonight.
Right.
And I did notice that in that you didn't give anything away.
No.
But
we can, podcasts are different. You can't do a podcast about a movie without talking about, what the movie's about. Yeah. Podcasts are different. You have your spoilers, etc. The piece is, I do the piece. I decide alone if I'm going to impart what I'm going to impart with the reader. And I just always like to leave that out.
Yeah, we spoil the fuck out of everything on this show.
Of course. It's like the only way you can talk about it. It's the only way you can talk about a specific movie is to spoil.
I have had people say that, I've listened to one of your shows. I haven't seen the movie, but I still don't feel like you ruined it for me. I can still go and enjoy it. So,
I guess that depends. No, sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead, Dave.
Okay,
I forget what I was going to say already.
There have been some of the episodes that I have watched or listened to that made me for sure know that I did not want to see this movie. So,
yeah, well, some people will, even if some people don't care. You could spoil the whole movie for them, and they don't care. They're still going to go see the movie, right? Some people don't care. Some people don't want to know anything. Some people are in between. I'll watch a trailer 6-7 times if it's a really cool trailer. I don't care. And some trailers give everything away. Some don't. But, that's the way it is. I love trailers, right? My wife and I will sit and sometimes watch 25 minutes of the latest trailers for movies coming out next month or something like that. I love the trailers, but I don't like to spoil in my reviews, but on podcasts, let's give her.
Well, we'll definitely rip it. I wanted some other things that I really liked from the things that I've read so far. Well, actually, I wanted to point out that Joe Dante gave your book a really good review.
Yeah. I got his information. I won't say where I got it from, but I got his contact information, and I literally just sent him an email saying, Mr. Dante, I'm a big fan of yours. I grew up on your movies. I saw Piranha in the theater when I was 8, and on and on and on. All true. And I said, I've written this book. I would love to send you a manuscript for a possible blurb if you like it. He said, sure, send it over. So I sent it over. 3 days later, he sends me back that blurb. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you very much.
That's amazing.
I was that when I got that first one from him, I was floating on air. Same with Clay McLeod Chapman, who's really on a roll as a book writer, a horror writer. He loved it as well. Josh Stolberg, the writer of Saw 10 and some other stuff, he really dug it too. Bruce Davison, the actor from Willard, again, through a connection, I got it to him, and he says on the back of the book, he says, I love the book. So, yeah, it's gotten some great reactions from those people, and as well as people that I know through social media who've got it, who say they're really enjoying it. So yeah, it's been great.
That's fucking great, man. I mean, you and this wasn't in the book. When I was reading through, like, your introduction and all that, and I was kind of looking through the back to try to see if, like, you had mentioned this, but in one of your tweets where you were so thankful about how well the book was doing and all, you had thanked your mom and
Yes.
said that if it wasn't for her,
Mm.
you wouldn't have this love for horror that you do. Like, she
Yeah.
helped build,
Oh, she threw me
instill
right
that.
into the deep end. She was, and actually, I had got to give her a copy of the book last weekend, and she was the first person that I signed a book for. So that was incredibly exciting and fitting because at the age of 6, my mom took me to the theater to see Burnt Offerings, which came out in '76. And I was absolutely terrified. But she wanted to go with someone to see a movie, and she loved going to the movies. And my dad did too, but to a lesser extent. So my mom and I were primarily the horror moviegoers in our house from the time I was a kid. So anytime a horror movie came out in the theater, the Amityville Horror, we would go see, you name it. All of the big ones. I did see Halloween, the original, in the theater with my older brother, who at the age of 14 talked the theater clerk to letting us in because he said that we were locked out of our house and we had nowhere to go, and the guy bought it, or was like, "That's a good one, kid," and let us in to see it. But my mom, she is my first horror girl. She is the one who instilled in me the love of horror that obviously, well, I guess is never going to die. So there you go. Yeah, she's the first,
Now,
Well, I
and
think.
she's still with us. So
Oh,
it's like when I was a kid, we watched a lot of. There would be a lot of things on television that I'd watch that was horror,
mhm.
like the old monster movies. My dad loved all those, and
Yeah.
then like Full Check the Night Stalker, and
Mm.
and uh, and then the still to this day one of the two most scariest things in my entire life was the made for TV Salem's Lot was
Oh
one of them,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was on television, and
Yep.
to this day that still is the one that it scared me so bad. And then the second one was one of the very first movies I ever went to see. There was a small the next town over from where I lived, there was a small one screen theater that was like an old, the old style theaters, and
Sure.
and they would show movies the year after. Basically, they were like cheaper movies
Yeah.
instead of driving into St. Louis, and that was like my favorite movie of all time, Star Wars. I saw it there first time, and it was like a year after it came out, and then.
Yeah.
But also, one of my first movie going experiences that I can remember is my brothers and sisters and everything all wanted to see Jaws, and they were babysitting me. So
Yeah.
I saw Jaws in the
Oh.
theater,
Oh.
the year after it came out. And then, of course, my brothers and sisters, well, my brother mainly went on to tell me that Jaws could be anywhere there's water. So I was terrified of bathtubs. I was terrified. If there's water, Jaws can be there. He would tell me, "We go swimming. Jaws is in here. Be careful." So
I saw Jaws 2 in the theater. I never saw Jaws, but I can remember distinctly being 5 years old and driving down our street, main street in small town Estevan, Saskatchewan, where we had one theater, the Orpheum, and driving by at night, and Jaws was playing 1975, and the
yeah,
lineup was literally out the door and around the whole block. Now it's a small town city block, but still, because there's just one showing, right?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
there's two showings, but it's a smaller theater, but around the block. And we never saw it, probably until it came on TV a few years later, I think, when Jaws 2 hit theaters. But even so, it had such an impact that we would go to the pool and all you would hear is dun, 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 dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun.
dun. We became, just by osmosis, we fell for the same scare tactics as little ones as the
Yeah.
older kids. I mean, people saying they couldn't, go in the bathtub because
Yeah.
of Jaws, I think is maybe a little ridiculous. The ocean,
Well,
absolutely,
I
I
was
understand.
maybe 4 or 5. So,
I get it.
and my brother said, and I believed everything he would tell me. So.
Sure, of course.
I don't think we don't have a big age difference between us. Scott, I think you were born in 70.
Yeah.
I was born in 74, and I believe Dave is 73.
73.
So
Well, there
we're
we
all
go.
in
Yeah.
kind of like the
Yeah.
same age range.
70 fellas.
Mhm.
70s fellas.
We're definitely monster kids.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
born in
have
the
a Jaws.
70s, grew up in the 80s, graduated in the 90s, you know.
I have a Jaws story, and it's also Jaws 2, because I don't think I got to see Jaws in the theater, but my dad was driving my sister and I it passed the little bitty tiny one-screen theater in our tiny little hometown, and Jaws 2 was playing. He was like, oh, hey, let's go see a movie. And so we're sitting there, and horrifying stuff is happening, I guess. Me, as however old I was, I don't care. I want to see what's going to happen. My sister, who's older than me, starts covering my eyes, like, as they're pulling the corpse out of the ocean or whatever. And so I start crying, right? I'm like, my dad picks me up, carries me out, and he goes, are you too scared? Do we need to leave? And I go, no, I want to see what the fuck is happening, and my sister is blocking me.
Having said that, you were probably about 4.
Probably.
Is my guess. But on the other hand, it's Jaws 2, not Jaws. So I think a 4-year-old can handle Jaws 2. So
The earliest film memory I have in a theater is my mom taking me to see All That Jazz.
okay, I've still never seen that.
Oh, it's a brilliant
No, I hear
film,
it's amazing,
dude.
but
Oh, it's
yeah,
fucking amazing.
I've never seen
Should not be seen by a 4 or 5-year-old at all.
Well, hey, at 8, I went with my parents to see The Deer Hunter. So,
fuck.
tomato.
God damn.
Well, one year for my birthday, I saw this, I saw the previews for Yellowbeard the Pirate, and I wanted to see that pirate movie, and my sister took me to see it.
Oh, boy.
Didn't the commercials have him pissing on people?
I don't remember. I just remember it was a pirate movie, and at that point, I was like really into pirates. Pirates and cowboys, and then once Star Wars hit too, I was like that. It was just all anything like that, and then the fantasy thing, the sword and sorcery stuff, hit right after Star Wars. So
Yeah.
I had plenty to watch.
We've all had drive-in theater experiences, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, because you mentioned it in the book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned there's that one thing that you saw in a drive-in theater that changed you forever.
Oh, my God. I did?
Okay, that you never forgot. I'm sorry, that you never forgot.
Well, apparently I have. I'm trying to think. Do you remember what it was? And then I'll go from there?
I'm sorry, I don't.
All right.
Just remember you pointing out, you may not have even specified, dude. You just kind of said, hey, we all have that thing where we were, in the drive-in theater as a kid,
Yeah.
and it was that one thing that we'll never forget.
Maybe
My earliest memories of the drive-in was we pulled in, and the first movie I remember seeing at the drive-in was a Bruce Lee movie, Fists of Fury. Where the guy- where he
real
throws-
Bruce Lee movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not Bruce Lee or not Bruce Lee. Or no. It's where he throws the bird cage up and it lands on the tree. That one. That was the first one I saw. But the drive-ins were as such that while you're after, let's say, between the Bruce Lee movie and whatever the next movie would be, you would get trailers. And there would be no editing of trailers. And it would usually be an R-rated movie of trailers that you would get. You would get a few trailers of R-rated movies. And frequently the movies that you saw, or that I went to with my parents anyway, were frequently R at the drive-in. Now, a mild R, right? I remember seeing Roller Coaster, etc. But probably one of my most memorable drive-in experience was in December of 82. We spent Christmas in San Antonio, Texas. This is very convoluted, and I'll try to make it short. We were living in Jamaica at the time. We had friends, American friends in Jamaica who still owned a house back in San Antonio. They were going home for Christmas. They said, would you like to join us? There was just me, my mom and dad, my 2 older brothers were back here in Canada. Sure. So we go to San Antonio for Christmas. Lovely, lovely place. We went to the drive-in. The girl who was about my age and her older sister, the 3 of us went to the drive-in. And what is playing but... The first movie up is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. The second movie up is The Thing. So it was it was like a Carpenter 3.5 hour Carpenter extravaganza, more or less. I know he didn't direct Halloween 3, but it's got his fingerprints all over it, obviously.
It's like an extra entry.
That was a great drive-in experience, and that was 82, Christmas of 82. I think I maybe went to one more in the mid 80s when I came back home to Canada from overseas, one more drive-in, and then they kind of just, as video came up, the drive-ins kind of like leveled out and started dying off.
Yeah, I remember the first drive-in theater I went to was it was called 66 Drive-In. It was up in it was in towards St. Louis, closer than where I lived. But I saw that was probably, besides the things that were at the Palace Theater in the next town over, that was probably one of the other first places I saw movies at. And then I saw Jurassic Park on the last night of the last showing at 66 Drive-In before they demolished it, and I stole a speaker.
Nice.
Good for you.
When you guys went to the drive-ins, did they ever have posted like the big calendars of what was going to be at the drive-in for like the next month? Would they post that in your town at all, like on a community board, something like that? Because our town had that. It actually had a community board on a street corner that was behind glass, and every month I would rush up there, while in the months when the drive-in was open, to see what was going to be playing at the drive-in for the month. That used to just drive me batty waiting for that to come out.
No, I don't remember anything like that.
I don't remember that.
The theaters used to do it too, right? The theaters would also give out a printed calendar that would tell you what was playing. Oh, really? Oh,
I think it must be a Canadian thing.
Though. Our local,
it must be a Canadian thing.
Well, I don't know. Like the New Beverly in LA does, they do printed calendars of what they have coming for the month. So I don't know. I'm just saying in our town anyway, the theater had like a printed calendar, and then the drive-in also would have one on a street corner behind glass. And I just thought that was so cool.
No, what you're describing to me is more like what I had to do with television, because I would always want to catch the Godzilla movies that were playing on Saturdays or Sundays or whatever. Yeah. So every time the newspaper would show up with the TV schedule, I'd be like looking for Godzilla titles. But I wanted to share my I will never forget from the drive-in experience. This is the whole reason I brought it up. I thought you guys might have equal stories, but apparently not.
I don't have any.
I stole the speaker.
Yeah, I don't have any.
That is great.
I don't have any drive-in shenanigans stories. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's funny you brought it up in the book.
Whatever it is, remind me where it is so I can look that up again. There's only 70,000 words in there. I honestly, I'm trying to. I mean, it's all about the drive-in. Many of them mention the drive-in.
Pretty much.
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, so
we'll discover it together.
Let's get it out of the way.
All right.
Right. My aunt took my sister and I to the drive-in, and I think we were going to watch Psycho 2 was the film, and it was either that or Halloween 3. It was one of the two. I can't remember. But we're watching that, and I'm getting kind of bored. So I look over to the other screen across the way, which I can't hear, right? Because we don't have the speaker for it.
I know.
Yes.
And I see this crazy thing skittering out of the woods, and it doesn't look human and whatever. And I'm like, okay, that looks really fucked up. I like that. And then as I keep watching over there, I see a woman give birth to a full human-sized man in her kitchen.
Extra?
Yes! Yes! It fucking changed me. Because I didn't even know what the name of the movie was. Just years later, I saw the cover on a VHS at a rental store, and I went, oh my god, that's it!
It held your attention more than Psycho 2 did? I love Psycho 2.
Yes. Psycho 2's great, but...
Yeah.
I mean, not
get
for
it.
a 6 or
You're
7-year-old.
You're like an 8-year-old and you're seeing this. Yeah, no, I get it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have one more. I have one more thing about the drive-in. You know how Tim, you remember where Fenton is? You know where Fenton is. Okay, well, you know where the big trash dump mound is now?
Oh, yeah. I remember we wanted to film there once.
Yeah, and they threw us out. Jerks.
Yes.
No, but that used to all be flat, and there was a drive-in there.
Oh, shit.
And one time, we were driving back from my cousin's house one night, and there was an accident on 44, and we didn't get into the traffic until right after we passed the Fenton exit. And I saw the entirety of The Last Starfighter on that drive-in screen while we were in traffic with no sound. So
nice. That's a good movie too. I like The Last Starfighter.
Yeah,
I saw it in the theater. I saw it in the theater with sound.
Yeah.
You should try it. It's good.
I have. As a matter of fact, I have seen that movie with sound.
I'm glad you caught up on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I was ever to compare, like, Last Starfighter and Flight of the Navigator kind of seem like companion pieces, and I prefer Last Starfighter over that.
I like Flight of the Navigator, though.
Well, I mean, oh, god damn it, here I go telling a story. Fuck. All right. The first time I got to see Flight of the Navigator was I went with a church group. They took the youth to the theater to watch a wholesome family film. And it was Flight of the Navigator. And me and my friend said, fuck this. This sucks. Hey, Friday the 13th Part 6 is playing in the theater next to us.
Oh.
So we snuck over there. Little did we know, it was going to run longer than Flight of the Navigator, so we got busted.
Oh, anyway, it was worth it, though.
It fucking was worth it.
Of course it was.
All right.
All right, so we're going to wrap up this part, where I guess we're going to move on to the movie. I want to point out there's 12 different chapters in the film.
In the book, 12 festivals.
Our book. God damn it.
Yes, 12 festivals in the book. There are. Yes. And the movie we are going to discuss is in, I believe, 8 Back Bacon Bloodbath.
I believe so, yes. Right. Canadian-based films. But the other ones we have are, we have like the Animals Attack. Mm-hmm. We have Killer Kids.
We have Kids.
Satanism.
Yeah, that's the Blood on Satan's B-roll.
Of course you have it memorized. So what I didn't write down every chapter. God damn it, Scott. I did write down like the I think my favorite or most entertaining films from each chapter.
Okay.
So I'm gonna run these by you.
Sure.
So this is the one that actually got me got you on my radar, is because you were talking about here's the oh god damn it,
some Shatner, isn't it?
Traumatic brain injury, dude. I still struggle with it. But yeah, you said here's the list of all of the movies, and I went, oh my god, you guys are talking about Kingdom of the Spiders. I'm so glad.
That's a favorite. Yeah.
Oh, it needs way more love, man. It is such a well-crafted film. Like,
it really
every
is.
part of it.
It really is. Yeah.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. No, I love it.
if you get a chance, you can listen to our episode on it. I converted two people that had never seen it before, and they were
All
like,
right.
"Holy shit! Didn't expect it to be good." So, and then the second one, The Pit, that's going to be the Killer Kids, right? What was the title? The chapter?
No, The Pit is in WTF, What the Film.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, The Pit is not. It could have gone into Canada, but no, it deserves to be in a different category completely.
Yeah. The Pit is a fucking complete trip.
It's bananas. It's totally shit bananas.
What does he call the killer creatures in the pit?
Oh, the Trolologs.
Trolologs. Yes.
Trolologs.
Yes.
Trolologs.
La 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 la. And then I chose Devil's Reign for the next one. As another Shatner flick.
Yeah, I got two Shats in there.
We got to shat them out. And also Ernest Borgnine, a melting Ernest Borgnine.
Yes,
And
Ernest
John Travolta.
John Travolta, yeah. He screams out blasphemer, but it's someone else's voice. But yeah, that's him, and under that kind of not great makeup.
Do not denigrate the makeup. They did the best with what they could.
No, I love the melting at the end is great, but just the general mask. And by the way, I don't know if it's true, but to me, if anyone has seen The Devil's Reign, the mask that William Shatner is wearing in The Devil's Reign when his eyes go, that to me seems like real Michael Myers, as opposed to when they said they took a Shatner mask from Star Trek and then carved. To me, the Devil's Reign already seemed like it was 3/4 of the way to Michael Myers, because it had the eyes, it had the Shatner mask, but the eyes cut out. And I'm like, holy shit, it looks like Mikey to me. But that's a great movie. I absolutely love Devil's Reign.
Devil's Reign is a blast. And there's lots of other big actors that you would know from, other films of that era.
Well, and lots of Love Boats. Yeah, lots of Love Boat episodes for sure.
Love Boat.
You got your Edward Albert, and it's got Tom Skerritt
Eddie.
and Ida Lupino, the great Ida Lupino. It's great. Yeah.
Don't we have the Keenan Wind come blowing in?
Keenan Wind comes blowing in as the sheriff, yeah. He gets the old mask treatment too. I love that movie. And the Blu-ray from Severin is gorgeous. The transfer is life-changing, because that's another one of those movies. So I saw your post earlier tonight online about the difference between the Tubi version of the movie we're going to discuss and the Blu-ray version. And there's quite a difference. And it's just, The Devil's Reign went through that for years and decades. The first time I saw it was on VHS, and a good VHS tape, but it was so washed out. It very much washed out. Then when Severin put out this Blu-ray, it looks like an Argento movie. There's all these blues and reds, and it's just gorgeous. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was going to bring that up. I didn't know you saw that. Then I move on. What's the next chapter? I got popcorn from this one.
Oh, okay, popcorn. Oh,
that's a
popcorn,
slasher one.
Yes, popcorn is in Chop Chop Till You Drop.
Right.
Yeah. Popcorn was great, and I cheated with popcorn because it's obviously didn't come out in the mid-'80s. It came out in 1990, but who gives a shit? It's my book. So
it's very 80s. It's very 80s.
But it is a very 80s movie anyway. So I put it in there because, again, it's another one that I think it came at a time when horror was on a decline. If your name wasn't Chucky, you really weren't opening at the box office. There was no horror. I keep telling people this in the 90s, in the early 90s. Before the second half, when Scream brought it back, there was very little theatrical horror, I should say. There was some direct-to-video stuff. That's when MCA Universal started pumping out their stuff, RCA on direct-to-video. Chucky was about the only thing that made the theater. Popcorn did. So I saw Popcorn in the theater. Buddy and I went to it. But it was one of those that just came and went, with a like a gust of wind in the air, right?
Yep.
Only to be discovered years later, again, when DVD came along, and then there's a reassessment. And then you get the gorgeous Blu-ray that comes down the pipe a little bit later, right? But again, that was one of those that just kind of got lost in that horror kind of slipstream of late 80s when people were like, well, let's go watch something else, to mid 90s. But I'm so glad that people are coming around to it now. And I've always wanted to write about it. And so that's really why I put it in the book.
I saw it in the theater myself, and the only reason that I probably knew it was coming out was, again, because, like Dave said earlier, I was the kid that was reading Fangoria and Gore Zone and stuff like that. So I was always, paying attention to what was on the verge of being out there.
Yeah.
It didn't do very well. It disappeared pretty quick. Was it, what's that guy's name? Tom? He's not with us anymore. The guy that played the killer in Popcorn.
Yeah.
Was it Tom Lillard? Not Lillard. No.
No, you're thinking of Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
I really liked that actor in everything I saw him in.
He was really good. He was really good in that. Valanche. No, that's Bruce Valanche.
No,
am I right? Was it Valanche?
No, it's not Valanche. It's not. It's more like Lillard. I guarantee it.
This is just
if anybody
silliness.
has fast fingers.
I'm working on. Someone work on that, please. His last name is. I'm drawing a blank on too. However, I do remember him very well. Popcorn is his best role. He did mostly the goofy sidekick in films like One Crazy Summer, and of course from TV's We Got It Made.
I know him now.
Yeah, yeah. He was one of the Egg brothers in One Crazy Summer with Bobcat Goldthwait. Tom.
He was the tall, skinny one.
Yeah, Tom. Someone looked up his name?
It's Tom. I've been saying Tom.
Yeah. No, really, folks.
I have stuck on this until we figure it out.
I have a book.
Hey, did you write a book about it?
Tom Villard.
There we go. See, similar to Lillard.
Tom Villard, which is a cross between Lillard and the Bruce Valanche that I was going for. There, we're all saved.
Somewhat right.
There we go. We were both somewhat right.
And with our powers combined, we can conquer the world.
Yeah, he is really good. He is really good in it. Like the kind of good where I kind of hoped he had gotten some attention for it, just outside of, our little horror circles. I thought he was really, really good in it. But, again, not a lot of people saw it at the time. So it's kind of sad. But, yeah, that's a really fun movie. Tony Roberts, Jill Skolin. It's great. Love it.
Yeah, you pair that up with Matinee, you got a double feature.
Exactly. You sure do.
So the next one I chose from the next group, Creepshow. And there was a Portmanteau chapter.
Any portmanteau in a storm. Yes.
Yes.
Creepshow is one of my all-time favorite movies. I'd always wanted to write about it. I never had. I'd never done a dust-off on it. So I thought, well, now again is the perfect opportunity. Creepshow is the perfect anthology movie. I can't see anything about it that I would have done different. You have these 5 stories, and it's not a matter of if you like them all or what the order is. It's always a grab bag, and your mileage may vary, but I think the stories uniformly in Creepshow are really strong. And the performances, even maybe the episodes that, if I'm going, in the reverse order of the ones that I don't like as much as the rest, still have actors that buoy them up. And there's still, if it's not the actor buoying it up, it's the great Tom Savini effects, or it's the wonderful lighting, the comic book paneling, or it's John Harrison's great music that I love in it. It's great. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And you got Tom Atkins to start it all off, right? That's why
Oh,
God
shit.
made fathers, babe. That's why God
Daddy's
made
daddy.
fathers.
That's daddy's daddy right
Right? When
there.
he smacks his kid and he goes back downstairs and he drinks his beer, and that's why God made fathers, babe. That's why God made fathers.
Yeah,
No.
Creepshow was one of the horror movies that what made its way into my viewing spectrum even before I knew Nick's. So
Do you want to do you want to say the quote? Do you want to try to do the quote?
meteor shit. No, not one. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Meteor shit. I'm
I
gonna
think
take
it's
it down to
actually
the college.
I think I wonder how much they pay for it down at the college. I think we've got it wrong. I don't think it's meteor shit. I think it's meteor crap.
Oh,
Scott,
no,
do
shit.
you know?
It's shit. It's shit.
It is shit?
I
It
thought it was
definitely.
meteor,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
meteor
Okay.
shit.
Meteor shit.
Now that's the one thing that's really lacking from the TV show, which I enjoy somewhat. It doesn't do like the cartoonish lighting and transitions. It tries to do the transitions, but it's really minimal. Like you don't get the extravagant lighting, like like an Argento type thing, like the original Creepshow does.
There is. I like the creep show, but again, they're all helmed by different people, different writers, so results may vary. My very favorite of the creep show so far, I think, was either in season 2 or season 3. It starred Breckenmeyer as an astronaut, and it was called The Right Snuff. Check it out. It adheres
I
to.
know, I've seen it.
It's okay. Go check it out. It's called The Right Snuff. It is like reading. If you had a Creepshow comic, this one is like it. It doesn't do. It's not so much. It's the overall feel of it and look of it. It very much plays like a perfect, like Tales from the Crypt Creepshow episode. I absolutely adore it. It's fantastic. Check it out.
I don't know why I don't remember it. All right. Well, next we're moving on to Evil Speak. This must be like possessed people.
Evil
right?
Speak, no, is Terror in Techno Town.
Techno. All right. Sorry.
Yeah. Terror in Techno Town is Evil Speak. Evil Speak is, I think it's probably Clint Howard's best performance. Again.
Aside from Ice Cream Man, I mean.
Oh, man, do I hate that movie. I realize this is a safe space, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That movie was made by a porno director, and I've seen pornos shot that look better and are more coherent than that. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was awful. He's a bad villain. It's badly written. It's badly acted. It's badly everything.
Yeah.
But that's just me. Hey, it's one person's opinion. Not a fan of the Ice Cream Man. Evil Speak is a great male version of Carrie with pigs and a Macintosh computer.
Yes.
At a
Because he's a nerd.
because he's at the military academy. Again, a lot of good actors. R.G. Armstrong. Who else? Well, Clint himself. What's his name? Not Austin Pendleton. The little guy who was in Meatballs 2 or 3 as the drill sergeant. Never mind.
With the alien?
I am totally veering
Off the rails.
But Evil Speak is great fun, and it has a killer ending where Clint gets completely possessed by Richard Mall from Night Court. And with a sword, which is just hanging around in the cellar of the military academy, just goes ape shit in a church and is lopping off heads left, right, and center. Again, I appreciate these movies that would just go for this stuff. And, they would have to watch out for the MPAA, especially after Friday the 13th kind of pulled a fast one over on them on the first movie, and things started to get a little more choppy in terms of what made it to the screen. But, there were ways around that they did. You submit one cut and they go, yeah, they approve it. And then you actually show what you wanted to show, right? And then what are they going to do, right? I mean, that used to happen a lot. And especially with horror, there's a lot of horror, for instance, in the 70s that was rated PG, that in no planet or any fucking place on earth should be rated PG. Grizzly is rated PG. You see a horse's head fly off in Grizzly, a lady's arm, bloody arm flying through the air. But, it's suitable for, parental guidance suggested.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be there, you can be.
Yeah.
That's a William Girdler flick, right?
That
Grizzly.
is a Girdler classic, man.
Oh,
He makes it. Are you a big Girdler?
Oh, I love Day of the Animals, man. That is one of my fucking favorite movies. We just covered it.
I have two Girdlers in the book. I have, of course, Grizzly, and I also have the Manitou.
Oh, yeah, that's on my list.
Oh, the Manitou is so great. It is so great. Near the end of the movie, you have Susan. Well, you read about it in the book. Susan Strasberg is on a bed in outer space, topless, shooting lasers out of her fingers at a little person, a native little person as an ancient demon in outer space.
Native little person. Notice the proper nomenclature that we're
one
using.
sounds like it's right down Ben's alley. So.
Oh,
it's great. Tony Curtis gives a really fun performance in it. Right. Stella Stevens, Burgess Meredith is in it.
It's insane.
It's great. It's a great movie.
Crazy.
It's crazy. It's insane. And that was in 78. Could you imagine sitting down in the theater in 78 and you're watching this going, what is this?
Like a tiny native person pops out of Susan George's back.
That's true, yes. That's right. It's too big of a job for Dr. Pimple Popper. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
All right, so my next one, I can't remember what this chapter was titled because, again, I didn't memorize them all. But goddamn, I love this fucking movie, Of Unknown Origin.
Oh, of Unknown Origin. What category is that in? That one's that's in Canada, I think. I think I put that one in the Canadian.
The Canadian one?
Yeah, okay. So.
Yes, it is.
I picked this one over Curtains. Or whatever. But
Of Unknown Origin is a great movie, and again, undersung, right? That's why I wanted to write about it and have more people who are newer to the genre, or even some who've been around who haven't checked it out. God, it's so much fun. It is. Peter Weller is great in it, as he just becomes totally psycho dealing with this rat in his house.
Because most people like. Well, hey, giving it away. You said you didn't want to spoil it. But yeah, most of us know Peter Weller as being the stoic RoboCop.
Sure.
But I mean, this one, like, he starts as like a real uptight businessman, and then loses his shit trying to protect his house from this unknown entity. Yeah. But it turns out it's a fucking rat, and it's smart.
And it's big.
It fucks with him.
And it's big.
And it's really big.
And really, I mean, you really should have just left the house, called an exterminator. Gone away with the wife and kid.
He's got to prove his manhood, dude.
Oh, no, I get it. Otherwise, we don't have a movie. We have a 10-minute infomercial for rodent killers, right? So, yeah, that's a great one. I love that.
Dave, have you seen Of Unknown Origin?
No,
Peter Weller?
No, I have not.
You better put that on your list.
Well, I've got a whole list here in his book. I mean, there are things in this book that I have seen, but there's a lot of things that I've never seen in here, and things that I'm interested in seeing.
I can say, looking through the table of contents here, it's my entire childhood. And even if it's things that I haven't seen, because there are some in here that I haven't seen, I'm still like, I've read about them for my whole fucking life.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I hadn't seen, in the last chapter around the weird in a day, I had never seen Santa Sangre.
Oh
by
shit!
Jodorowsky, and
Yeah.
until it was time to do this book, and like, where has this been all my life? Like, what an amazing movie! Like, just breathtaking. I absolutely loved it. You know, it's so unique. It's so unusual. It's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful movie. The story itself and the imagery and everything. It's great. It's fabulous. I love it. I love discovering new things. I'm on this journey. I don't just write the book and then that's it. I'm done. No. I'll be back on Tubi later,
Yeah.
seeing what else I can grab or
Hopefully you can actually see it.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay. All right, so we got next one I picked. I don't know if what this chapter was it Italian or undead, but I picked Burial Ground.
Oh yeah, that's in if you're happy and you know it, clap your hand. Yeah.
Hand, yes.
Yeah.
That was cute.
That's right. Yeah.
I like that.
Burial Ground is not one that I saw first time around in the video store. I remember seeing the box forever, forever and ever, and never decided to pick it up. Outside of Zombie, when I was like 10 or 11 when I saw Zombie, outside of that, that was really, like, it had to stand up to that standard for me. So even a video box, if the box wasn't even going to compare to the smiling toothy grin of the zombie on the box cover saying, "We will eat you.
We are coming to eat you.
We will eat you." There's less of those that I checked out. But Burial Ground is, it's of course insane. It's completely insane. It's literally just a bunch of people get together at a house. Some shit's disturbed underground. The dead rise in a giant mansion. And plus a 25-year-old short fella is pretending to be a 10-year-old boy and sucks on his mom's tit and then bites it off.
Yes. Oh, it's the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Best part of it.
It's classic cinema,
I would see that character and Bob from, House by the Cemetery.
I would like to see
in a film.
I would like to see this guy bite off Bob's nipple because I can't stand Bob. Not a Bob fan. I like House by the Cemetery, but Bob is rough, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, wasn't that that same actor for Bob actor? Was he in what's the Exorcist ripoff? Beyond the Door? Was he in that one?
Oh God,
I can't remember what other movie he was in. God damn! Don't worry about it.
Yeah, okay. Beyond the Door. Beyond the Door is about like 74. I want to say. So and
you guys.
Burial Ground was like 81. Burial Ground's like 81. So.
Well, that's different. No, I'm talking about Bob from.
Which Bob?
Bob, the only Bob. That kid's name in Burial Ground is not named Bob.
No, okay, so you're saying Bob from House by the Cemetery.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Beyond the Door.
No. Because those are like 7 years apart and they wouldn't be the same age, yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's not him. It's not him. You're talking about the little kid in Beyond the Door who eats cream of mushroom soup right out of the can?
No,
with a straw? With a straw?
It's pea soup. It's pea soup.
That's right. Sorry, it's pea soup.
It's very prominent. They show it at least 3 times throughout the film. It's like, okay, guys, we get it.
He's drinking pea soup with a straw.
Yeah. No, it's delicious.
Right out of the can.
Right out of the can. All right.
It's another one for you, Dave. You can mark down Beyond the Door or not. The choice is yours.
Okay. I'm just amazed you guys are just like able to like spout off the year and everything and not even looking things up. I'm not the cinemaphile that T-Bob is.
Only
Nix is.
Only one of us has managed to fucking make, a career out of it.
Well,
that's not me. That's him.
I'm just saying. I just sometimes I feel at a loss. Even whenever I'm just talking to you and Ben, I'm just like, oh yeah. Even the movies I know, I have to look up when they're made.
Mate, just go with the flow and make it up, Dave. I've done podcasts where I knew nothing about the movie being talked about, and I jumped in anyway.
Okay.
So we're gonna skip the Manitou because we already kind of talked about that. Now we're on to the next one. No idea what this one was called, Scott. But I chose Basket Case. Oh, independent.
Well, no, they're all independent in a sense. Some of them are under Duct Tape and Stardust.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, putting it together.
Basket Case is just a legendary movie. That one I did happen to see on video when it first came out in like 80, I want to say 83. I could be wrong about that, but I remember seeing it pretty early in its video days and really liking it. And then the sequels came out like 90, 91, something like that, around 91 or so. I think they did Frank Henenlotter made two sequels back to back. Obviously Basket Case 2 and 3, and they're all entertaining movies. But Basket Case is, super low budget, super gritty, appropriate to the time that it's taking place, right in Times Square, New York. You really
no permits.
No permits. You really get the feel, and you can almost smell like the piss on the sidewalk. You know what I'm saying? It's just great. The performances are, gritty. Some are better than others, but they all work, and they all work with the tone of the material. And Belial is just a great, creation, a great little monster in a basket. Yeah? What's in the basket is the question that everyone keeps asking throughout the movie. What's in the basket? Kind of became, they worked it into the ad campaign, right? Which I thought was really clever, but it's just a really great slice of New York sleaze. That isn't, I don't find it mean-spirited unless you like the people that, tore these two brothers apart. I don't. I think they get what they got coming to them. But yeah, it's just a really unique, different film. And again, super low budget, but so well made for that budget. And I think anytime, talent always shines through, I think. There's several movies in this book, with low budgets, extremely low budgets, but, talent, always prevails, I find. When people say they're hampered by this, hampered by that, well, we've watched movies by low budget guys who just get the shit done and end up making entertaining movies. And that's definitely what Basket Case is. It's one of those just perfect little B movies that sums up in a microcosm what New York specifically was like at that time.
Yeah, I was really happy to watch Henenlotter grow as a filmmaker, especially when he went from this to Frankenhooker.
Oh yeah, I love Frankenhooker.
Absolute joy. And he learned a lot on that, and you can tell because when he makes Basket Case 2, he's way more assured behind the camera and and the lighting and setting everything up. Part 3 I'm not all that keen on, but part 2 is a fucking hilarious masterpiece.
And don't forget, before Basket Case 2, after Basket Case, he had brain damage.
Brain damage, oh my God, with Elmer.
With Elmer, the singing parasitic drug fiend monster.
What a great drug allegory that fucking film is.
It is. The voice of Elmer is done by Zachary, the horror host, and he kind of sounds like a jolly Bing Crosby kind of, lilt in his voice, kind of ho ho ho, like you're watching a Rankin Bass movie from the '60s, as as he's chomping on like someone's dick, or sucking on someone's neck, putting brain hallucinogen and juice into his brain. It's a wild movie, but it's a great. You're right. It's a great drug allegory.
He's like a Boris Karloff DJ, is what he sounds like.
There you go. That's good. I like that.
So next one, I don't remember what this was called either. The Incredible Shrinking Man, one of my top 10 favorite films of all time.
The Incredible Shrinking, and again, that was one that I came to see just for the book. I had never seen it before. Its reputation completely is warranted. It really is great sci-fi. It's great drama. It's a really nice piece, and I think it says a lot about human nature too. How we don't want to accept when things change until they're too late. Usually, it's great. It's a great movie. It's well performed. The effects still hold up. They still play well. The him fighting the spider in the cellar with the needle and all that still holds up great. I was so glad that it was as good as I hoped it would be, so that I could write about it. And it is. It's terrific.
Yeah, it held up to the book pretty well. I also, in case nobody knows this little tidbit, there's a scene where there's water droplets coming out of the water heater and splashing on the ground. And the way that they created it was by filling condoms and dropping them. And it works perfectly.
Low budget ingenuity, right?
Absolutely. And then we get our last one. And this would be, as a kid, I always said Quatermass, but it is Quatermass in the Pit.
Yeah, I always used to say Quatermass too. Yeah, Quatermass in the Pit. Again, came to it later, right? The book was a good chance for me to play catch up with some stuff that I had missed. Quatermass in the Pit I think it's brilliant. I think the conceit behind it, that aliens were on Earth from the beginning and actually implanted all of our theology, all of our science, everything comes from aliens. This was in the 50s. They were coming up with this. And that was, to me, was mind-blowing. You know what I mean? Like, what a challenge to society at the time to say, hey, what about this? There's certainly threads in, Ridley Scott's work with Prometheus, laying at the feet of Nigel Neal and the Quatermass series, all these questions that are asked, maybe not answered, but asked, are so fascinating that you're just wrapped, watching them. It's a great movie. I love it.
It's my favorite of the actual Quatermass films that they actually made. I think there were only 3 official film versions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I recently I remember watching it as a kid. It was on TV. Because again, we all grew up in the time where all these great movies would be on television on Saturday afternoons or Sunday nights or Saturday nights as the Thriller Theater and whatnot. And that's where I would catch them, and they would really affect me. And watching that one back as an adult about 5 years ago, I was just like, there's some really heady stuff.
Yeah.
That we're asked to fucking talk about.
Can you imagine being like a 10-year-old kid and you go to the matinee to see Quatermass in the Pit and they're talking about this stuff and you're like, what?
Dave, have you seen it? Well, I think
no, I have not. There's every movie that you've brought up are the ones that I haven't seen, except for I think I may have seen Basket Case with you at one point.
You might have.
I think that sounds familiar, but
a little homunculus in the basket that eats hamburgers.
So. I'm almost positive I've seen that one.
Okay.
Because when you guys were talking about it, I was like, that one sounds familiar. But like, I've seen a few of the movies that are in here, but the ones you guys keep bringing up, and I'm sure I've seen The Incredible Shrinking Man at some point, because like the scene like you were talking about with the spider, and wasn't there a rat?
No, I don't believe so.
Maybe there was something else, but
maybe that was in The Incredible Shrinking Woman. I know there's a gorilla in that one.
Yes, there is.
Rick Baker. It's a Rick Baker gorilla, I believe.
That's not a good movie.
But I do remember the guy fighting the spider.
Because I watched it as a kid, Scott. I can't.
I watched it as a kid too, but
Well,
even I had standards.
If I saw that one though, once again it would be like the Saturday afternoon TV show movie thing that's on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So parts of it are there and parts of it are not, because I was also at the time having a massive G.I. Joe versus Star Wars battle in front of the TV.
Sure,
And,
of course.
Well, I don't know if you heard this, David, but our guest has just told me that I had no standards as a child.
I didn't say no. I said you had low. There's a difference. It's a Joel Schumacher and Lily Tomlin and Charles Grodin. Those are pluses.
Oh, if you got Charles Grodin in there,
Sure.
That's automatically 3 stars. Come on.
Well, it's not, for me, it's not funny. It's not a funny movie. And it's about consumerism. Oh, consumerism bad. Okay. And I'm good.
Be.
I'm done. I don't know. It's cute. I don't hate it. I'm just bugging you. I don't hate it. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's my favorite Joel Schumacher movie.
Well, no,
or Lily Tomlin movie. Or definitely not Charles Grodin movie.
Well, I think my favorite Charles Grodin movie is either King Kong or Clifford.
Oh, sweet Jesus. King Kong
One
or
of the two.
Clifford? Those are your
Clifford.
Charles Grodin?
Clifford.
Oh my God. I wish you had said Flipper. Clifford? Oh my. You know what? I just watched Clifford recently. And I sat there and I was just kind of going, Huh? Okay. Yeah.
I don't think that movie was crazy enough. It needed to get crazier.
I think it just needed to be funnier.
Well,
I'm okay with the concept. I'm okay with I like the concept. I love Martin Short. I love Charles Grodin, Mary Steenburgen. They're all winners. I just don't think it works. But again, who cares?
No.
We're here to talk about horror.
Oh, yeah. That's not horrifying. Well, okay, anyway.
Well, it's horrifying, but not horror.
I guess that's going to wrap it up for part 1. Join us next week. We'll have part 2 where we actually discuss the movie Curtains. Thanks for joining us.